Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Windows 10. In this module, I'm going to show you how you can get started in Windows 10. So we're going to start out by taking a look at starting Windows 10 and also some of the lock options that you have. We're going to go through the desktop. We're then going to take a look at the Start menu. And I'm going to show you some options you have when it comes to working in tablet mode. I'm also going to show you the options you have for shutting down Windows 10. So if you're all ready, let's get started. Now when it comes to starting Windows 10 or logging out of Windows 10, one option I want to start with is the lock screen. Now the lock screen is particularly useful if you are at work and you've got lots and lots of different applications open and maybe you just need to pop away from your desk. Maybe you need to go to a meeting or you're going to lunch or on a break and you don't really want to close down everything that you've got opened on your screen, but at the same time you don't want just anybody to be able to walk up to your PC, wiggle the mouse and access all of your applications. So a good option here is to lock your screen. It's going to keep everything running and open in the background, but it's going to pop up a password so that somebody can't just jump onto your PC and look at everything that you have open. So the quickest way to lock your PC is to press Ctrl-Alt-Delete. Now what you see I get is I just get my desktop background picture, and this is a different one that I have on my actual desktop. And it just shows some basic information that I have on my lock screen. And as with always in Microsoft, what you see on here is customizable. So I have the time and the current date. I can also see in the very bottom left-hand corner, it's telling me that I have 3 email notifications. And then on the right-hand side, I can see that I am connected to Wi-Fi. And I can also see the percentage of battery power that I have left in my laptop, and you can also see that I actually have it plugged in and charging at the moment. So once you lock your screen, when you come back to it, all you need to do is to click on your screen anywhere, and it's going to take you to your lock screen, and it's going to ask you to log in. Now again, on the bottom left-hand side, you can see that I have 2 accounts set up on this laptop. So I have my account that's currently highlighted, and there's also somebody else who has access to my laptop with a local account. So make sure that you select your account, and then you're going to be asked for your PIN or your password. Now I prefer to have a PIN, but that really is just personal preference. And again, in some of the later sections, I'm going to show you how you can specify if you want to log in with a password or if you want to use some kind of PIN. You can see above that I have a picture of myself, and then underneath that I have a link. If I forget my PIN, I can get a reminder, and I've got a direct link to my sign-in options just there. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, again, we have some symbols, so it's telling me that my keyboard is English United States. I can see my Wi-Fi connection. I can see I have ease of access turned on, and then I have my power button if I want to do something like shut down completely. Now at this stage, I'm just going to log back in by typing in my PIN. So now I'm back on my desktop. So whilst we're here, let's just do a very quick tour around the Windows 10 desktop. Now on the main part of the screen in the top left-hand corner, you can see I've got a couple of icons there. I have a recycle bin and I also have Microsoft Edge. Now, these are desktop icons, and some people have a lot of desktop icons, other people not so many. Now, I'm in that latter group. I tend not to have too many icons on my desktop. I prefer to have my icons pinned across the bottom in my taskbar. But again, this is very much personal preference. And what these desktop icons are essentially shortcuts to the applications. So if I want to quickly access my recycle bin, I can just click on the shortcut from here, and it's going to jump me into my recycle bin. The same thing with Edge. If I wanted to open up the Edge internet browser, I can double click and it's going to take me there straight away. So desktop icons will appear on your desktop. And I'm going to show you how to create those a bit later on. Now, running across the bottom, now we have the Windows key, which is our Start menu. Now we're going to cover the Start menu in a lot of detail in some of the following modules, so I'm going to leave that for now, but it is a very important button. We then have the search bar. Again, we're going to cover that in later modules. I then have a number of icons on my taskbar. And these tend to be the applications that I use all of the time. So you can see I have on there a lot of the Microsoft applications, so Excel, Word, PowerPoint, so on and so forth. I have a couple of internet browsers. I have the Camtasia software that I use to record these videos. I have a link to File Explorer so I can quickly access my documents, and also a very quick link to my settings as well. Now again, what you see down here is very much personal preference, and I'm going to show you how you can essentially add things or remove things from this taskbar again in some of the following modules. And then finally, right over on the right hand side, we have our notification area. And in older versions of Windows, this was referred to as the system tray. And again, the icons that you see down here are customizable. Now, I like to have icons that display information that's useful to me. So I like to see if I have my volume muted. I like to see what my battery life is. I like to see my Wi-Fi connection. And then of course I have the time and the date there as well. And then finally, right on the very end, we have this kind of, it looks like a little bit like a speech bubble. This is the Action Center. And if I click on this, this gives me an overview, so I can see there at the top very easily the last 2 emails that I've received. And then I have a number of different tiles that I can essentially click on or click off to toggle on and off. So you can see at the moment, the only 2 of those that I have turned on are Wi-Fi, because I am using a Wi-Fi connection, and I also have my location running as well. But for example, if I wanted to turn on Bluetooth, I could just come over here, click on the Bluetooth tile, and that's going to very quickly turn that on for me. Now this little Action Center and all of these tiles again can be customized to what's going to be most useful to you. And as you might have guessed, we are going to cover this in a later module. Finally, at the bottom there, I can very simply adjust the brightness of my screen by dragging this slider up or down. So lots of options in there. Now, before we leave this module, I want to briefly jump back to this Start menu. And there's quite a lot to cover in the Start menu, so I really want to just introduce you to the Start menu in this module. Now, the Start menu you'll find under this little Windows icon all the way over on the left-hand side. So you can either click on the Windows icon to pull up the Start menu, or alternatively, if you press that Windows key on your keyboard, that's going to allow you to access it as well. Now, this Start menu has been a bit controversial over the years. So for anybody out there who used Windows 7, if you can remember back to that, Windows 7 was very much just the menu part of this screen. Then when we moved on to Windows 8 and 8.1, Microsoft introduced these tiles that you can see just here. And a lot of people really didn't like just having the tiles. They missed that menu. So kind of what we have in Windows 10 is a compromise, a combination of both. So we still have our old Windows 7 style menu system, but we also have tiles there as well if we want to use them. Now again, we're not going to delve into this too much in this module, but I just want to make you aware of some of the things that you have on here. So if we start with just this menu running down the left hand side, you can see there we have access to our power options if we want to shut down or restart. We have a quick way of accessing our settings. I can jump directly to my pictures folder and also my documents folder. So if I click on documents, this essentially is going to open up File Explorer and jump me straight to my documents folder. And then I have access to essentially my profile, my account on this PC. Now moving across to this middle section, this is where you'll see all of the apps and applications and facilities that you have on your PC. And these are all listed in alphabetical order. And any applications that you've added recently to your system will be listed at the top. So you can see here that recently I downloaded or installed Microsoft Edge, and I also downloaded Microsoft Teams as well. Now, if I want to scroll through this list, you'll see that I have a little scroll bar at the side here. So I can then scroll through and I can look at all of my applications. And as you might expect, if I want to open one of these applications, I can just select it from the menu in order to open that application. Now, all of these letter dividers, so you can see here where it says A, where I'm currently hovered, if I click on A, it's going to take me into this little alphabet-sized panel. So if I want to jump to something in particular, so maybe I'm looking for something related to Microsoft, I can click on M and it's going to jump me straight down to that part of the menu system. So don't forget that you have that there as well. And then on the right, we have our tiles. So these are very much those Windows 8, Windows 8.1 style tiles. Some people love these, some people hate them. I'm a little bit like, I don't tend to use them so much, but I do know a lot of people who do really like using them. Now, I don't have mine particularly customized or set up in any particularly nice logical sequence, but what you can do is you can add any of your applications or apps as tiles. You can organize them into different groups. So you can see at the top here, I have Life at a Glance, which is one of the groups that Windows 10 automatically creates for you. You can rename these groups, you can add more, and you can add whatever tiles you want to into those groups. And again, it's just a quick way of being able to access your applications and any apps that you have. So if I wanted to open Excel, I can just click on this Excel tile, and that's going to go away and open Excel for me. So very, very simple to use. Now, as I said, I'm not going to speak a lot in this course about tablet mode, but I just want to show you, if you are using a tablet, where you can go to switch on tablet mode essentially. So I'm going to go back to my Start menu. I'm going to press my Windows key, and I'm actually going to go to Settings. I'm going to click on this little cog icon. I'm going to click on System. And you'll see here in this long list of options, one of the options we have is tablet mode. Now, I like to keep the when I sign in option to use the appropriate mode for my hardware. And that's because when I sign in, Windows is going to automatically detect if I'm using a tablet or if I'm using a desktop. And it's going to switch the mode depending on which one it picks up. And when you switch into tablet mode, what it essentially does is it optimizes all of the Windows features for a tablet device. So for example, it will give you more room in between icons because it's allowing for your finger as opposed to a mouse cursor. Now, you don't have to have the use appropriate mode setting. You can set it to use tablet mode permanently. So if you work permanently on a tablet, you can just switch into that mode and have it start up in that mode every single time. There's a few other options in here for customizing tablet mode, which you might want to look at if you do use a tablet device. Now, saying that, an even quicker way to switch into tablet mode, and this is particularly useful if sometimes you work on a desktop and sometimes you work on a tablet. If we go back to that Action Center in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see one of the tiles that I have here is tablet mode. So I can very quickly toggle it on or toggle it off depending on what device I'm using at any given time. Now, finally, I just want to talk to you about shutting down Windows 10. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you can just press the power button on your device, although I would say that sometimes that's quite a harsh way of shutting down your PC. I would always recommend, if you are just going to switch it off, make sure that you've fully saved everything and properly exited all of your applications. Don't leave them all open and then just turn the power button off. That's never good. It's what we would call a hard shutdown. Now, your other power options, if you click on the Start menu again, so I'm going to press my Windows key, you'll see at the bottom there it says Power. So if I click on Power, I have Sleep, Shutdown, and Restart. So sleep is a good one to use if maybe you're going to sleep at night, maybe you've got a lot of stuff open. You can put your PC into sleep mode, which won't close down everything, but it's going to use very little power. So all you need to do to log back in the morning is touch your keyboard, type in your PIN or your password, and you're up and running again. Now, shutdown is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's going to shut everything on your PC down and turn your PC off. And then finally, restart is probably an option that you've used many times before. There might be occasions where you need to restart your device, such as if you've installed maybe a new application which requires a restart in order for it to be able to work. Then you might want to use that option. And it basically does a shutdown and then automatically restarts your PC and will land you back at the login page where you type in your password or your PIN. So those are the options that you have. Now there is one more option called Hibernate, but again, I'm going to discuss that more in later modules. But for now, that's a very quick overview of how to get started, how to navigate your way around the Windows 10 desktop. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one.